Crack of dawn, baby. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a gloriously early morning over here from a very dark and gloomy, setting perfectly the mood for Bitcoin and, well, actually a lot of markets right now today as we go over traditional Forex and, of course, Bitcoin and maybe even some altcoins as well. And plenty to talk about today and more. Anyways, let's put it's kitchen time. Wow, getting started right from the fucking get-go, huh? Anyways, let's put the focus over here on the Krown application, which we found at app.krown.net. And what do we see? We actually see open interest backing off a little bit more. Another 50 million, it looks like, down to about 2 billion base. We have still yet to see a break of the range being between about 1.9.5 billion and 2.1.5 billion. So still kind of playing between that 10,000 and that 10,000. Oh my, I almost said 20,000, although kind of true, but $10,000 and $11,000 region that we've been looking to resolve over the last month and a half to 2 months now, actually, as we get closer and closer to the end of September. Anyways, am I recording? I am recording. The microphone's working, so that is good. Also, Bitcoin dominance shooting up actually past the range that we've been looking at for the past couple months as well. So this is the first time that it's actually suggested that Bitcoin's really starting to soak up some alt. Remember when we looked at the Bitcoin dominance chart, which I don't really look at all that often, but usually like once or twice a week. I think this was on last week and the week prior. We did say that this is very likely a major bottoming area for that, and it has been up ever since. So we should probably look at it today. I know that I say that pretty much every fucking day. I will actually make a note of it to do it today. Like I say, I don't actually plan these streams. I just kind of go at it in the same way that I would, go about my own trading schedule. Anyways, looking at the fear and greed index, only coming down about 4 points from a 43 to a 39. And let's go look at the data tab really quick as well. As I'm curious to see if the Bitcoin global funding rate did have any change. Wow, this is actually really, really interesting right here. So yesterday we did briefly get negative for about, I guess, a day. And what happened straight after that? It's actually gone into the positive territory once again, 0.02%. Now, again, even when it was like hovering at negative 0.01%, it's like not a big deal. And obviously 0.02% is obviously not a big deal, but it is interesting to kind of document over time, looking at the ebbs and flows with the market, but we don't necessarily have a major inflection point to be made just yet. Also, a little bit of interest, we do start to see the futures premium over spot really dissipate a lot. Now, of course, that's natural to come into at the end of the month here, but this is also indicative of the changing tides in Bitcoin lands, perhaps, as sentiment kind of fades away. Anyways, let me go back on over here. Oh yeah, and I have one announcement to make. If you want to have access to the Jewel for free, or I guess it'd be for free, then we actually do need a task done for us. We'd like to get essentially, how do I explain this? Basically, what we want to do is we want to make like a summary in words, in writing of these videos, not every single one of them, obviously, and not the whole fucking video, obviously, as well, but a nice little summary of it. We probably want to do that like once or twice a week. So if you are interested in such things, we'd be happy to we'd be happy to work with you. Just send an email to, oh man, you're gonna fucking love this, Brian. Send an email to brian@crowntrading.net and have fun with that, Brian. Anyways, so let's go over here into the overall. Wow. Okay, can't even help myself, can I? Let's just go to the price action. How about that? Okay, Bitcoin, you beautiful bitch, you. What have we done since the last day that we spoke? Well, in order to kind of get that, we need to go over the last couple of days of price action, of which obviously, this is going to be a little bit of hindsight for the people who have been here for a while now, as you've been seeing this in real time. But I want to be following up for that so that we can see that these ideas really take days to come about, sometimes even weeks. And in this one, no different. Anyways, so the big bad news over the weekend was this guy right here. This was our proverbial bull trap that we were looking for, and we got it. I mean, this is classic shit right here, where you have a move up and over, a critical area, this area being 10,800-ish region over a weekend. And then what happens? Well, we see a lot of fake outs within a region like this. Hits a major fib here too. If I want to pull this up, I think I need to go back to this chart right here. Yeah, the 0.5 classic area, and sells off pretty much soon after that as regular markets open up for the trading week on Monday. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, whenever you have a big snake like this, or I just call these snakes, but basically what I mean by that is like, a lot of tips and turns going in opposite directions. with major moving average crosses like this, you do see that the ultimate resolution of it typically does take on a pretty damn big meaning. And I believe that that's what we're seeing right here. How do we kind of judge that? Well, we want to be judging the slopes of these, because a lot of the time what you will see is you'll see a lot of fake outs, as you saw right here and right here. And there's a couple of really good defenses against that. First and foremost, looking at the slope. Second and foremost, a little cheat code for Bitcoin. You just go over here and you look at CMEs, and if it doesn't show the same thing, then you say, go fuck yourself, because it's probably not going to work. But assuming that you didn't have that, hitting a major fib like that over the weekend time for an asset that trades 24/7, but only professionally on traditional market hours, and then seeing this kind of snake around again, getting resolution on Monday, now getting divergence from these two moving averages away from each other as they all maintain a negative slope along the whole. That was a damn good signal that was going to be one of those bull traps so for a lot of the people who were asking me why I thought that this area was kind of like, good area for that. That would be the answer. Now, here's why it still matters. Well, the reason why it still matters is, well, we'd have to take off everything over here as well. Jesus, man, these charts are too damn much stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Anyways, anytime that we do see this cross between the yellow 20-month and the green 55 on the daily, typically does get the long-term momentum here, especially for the more efficacious crosses. So, for example, we have this one right here, which, I mean, technically speaking, it leads you all the way from 77 to, well, I mean, we never really get bearishly crossed after that, so you could say correctly all the way up to 12,500ish region, although I'd say more soon up to about 10,400 right here, both a 34.5% move versus a 62.5% move. About pretty damn significant stuff. Works to the downside as well. Obviously, this was your last Corona dump. Actually, this is actually poetic right here. This is actually extremely similar to what we saw over the weekend, where I believe this happened on a weekend as well, early March. I believe I remember as such, alongside these two major moving averages, and then boom, massive down as they're kind of trying to hint at a bullish cross right here. Couldn't quite get it. Same thing with the cross the upside right here. Beautiful move to the upside all the way from about 7,800 to 10.5. And what do we have on over here? You'll notice that this one never gets bullishly crossed. It stays bearishly crossed the whole way actually from here. Terrible timing of a move, by the way, but does eventually get it as the two major moving averages diverge. Again, big point within that one. And you can go all the way back to the genesis. There are going to be some fake outs here and there. There's going to be some not so great signals. I would say that this one was not so great, but even it being not so great, it was still giving you about a 12.5% move to the upside. I mean, yes, you are looking for a greater trend on top of that, but that's still like very tradable, especially over the course of a few days. I wouldn't hate that. This one over here, more or less a bad timer, but does keep you short the whole way through until the inevitable dooms drop from 6,000 to 3,000. And again, you're more than welcome to kind of back test that one for you. But with this price action right here, as we do kind of put in yet again another lower, well, I wouldn't say another, but as we put in a lower high, and actually, yes, it is another lower high. As we do see high, lower high, lower high. Okay, that's 3 consecutive. We see low, lower low. What could be next? What could be next? Turtle soup is what's next. Shout out to Spliv. Anyways, that guy's awesome. Anyways, okay, so looking at this right here, let's throw it back on the 200 exponential moving average, because I actually don't think that this one's going to like break down today, or might not even break down at all. While I do think that there is more downside involved in this particular asset right now, probably somewhere finding another wick around that 9,900 region to $10,000 region. I wouldn't necessarily look for a greater move to the downside. At least I would err on the side of caution in an area like this. With further downside momentum, because I still actually do think that 10,000 could be a reversal point. Now, is it looking likely? No, not really. Is it looking like it's going to be? Is it looking like it's going to have a high probability? Probably not. But we can actually check that out later. Credit to Pig. And so looking at this right here, if we actually do break below 9,900, especially on a daily closure, or sorry, on a wick, would I use a wick? No, probably not. If I was using daily closures, I'd be using 10,100-ish region. And yes, if we do break below there, I would extend downside targets to about 9,100 to 9,200 around the 200 moving average right here. Also in line with the volume profile, which showing the massive point of control right in this region as well, and also the kind of the thickest area that we've seen on this current board for this past year about. So keeping that in mind, that would be my next area of potential reversal and strong likelihood for a bounce, just like this $10,000 area was. Strong likelihood for a bounce. We got a bounce. I mean, we got a what? This is a bounce from what, 9,800 all the way to 11.2 about. Yeah, not bad. A 14.5% move. I mean, that's pretty damn significant. Definitely tradable. And then become kind of looking at the same thing over here. Strong likelihood for a bounce, potential reversal. If that area fails, then we get to play the game of turtle soup targets all the way down to, probably around 7,500-ish region. But I think I'll hold off on saying anything more than that right now, just because, it's, one by one. And it's not really like helpful to talk about targets down to 7,500 if this one's still, very much viable for right now. And with that said, playing around with some of the percentages from that cross, we can look at this as, well, I mean, something to go off of, not obviously gospel, but I'm just kind of curious to see what this kind of printed. So 45% on the downside for that one right there. We have another one right here at about 36.75% right there. We have this one leading all the way. This one's going to obviously be a little bit of an outlier because it tells you to stay short, or I guess I didn't even get that one right. Hold on, come on, Krown, stop talking to yourself and focus. That one being a 54% move to the downside. This one right here, actually also very reminiscent of what we just did into the death cross, as all of those major moving averages cross, 33.75 once again. And this baby over here taking you downtown to 52% to the downside. So, I mean, all of those seem a little bit excessive. Let's just see, like, playing around with numbers. What would happen if we shaved off like 30% off price action right here? Well, actually that's turtle soup targets down to about 7,500-ish region. Very interesting. Now again, that's neither here nor there. I think it's more important to kind of focus on the lower term timeframes for now. Anyways, I'm sure that people are going to be calling this bullish divergence between this point and this point, and I wonder if Caretaker is actually identifying that as this as bullish divergence. Yes, he's not, and that's exactly fucking right. You're goddamn right on that one, Caretaker. This is still a continuation as it is. This is not a local low confirmed just yet. We need to close above like 10,350-ish region for that to be confirmed. For right now, it's still pressure down as far as I'm concerned, and we do see historical volatility percentile. Is it contracting or expanding still? We're actually seeing it go back into an expansion, or sorry, a contraction phase here. So to me, this is more or less gonna equate to the same behavior, which means that we should go down to the very low term time frame and see if there's anything of note here as well. But before we do that, let's go check out 4-hour momentum. It's actually crossing up right now. Let's see what Pig has to say about that. With his reverse Stochastic indicator cross, which you can actually get in the description as well. I'm becoming like an indicator shill, but I'm actually happy to support these indicators. I use all of these. They're great. They're fucking great, man. Caretaker's RSI, the reverse Stoch, the probability panel, expect to move. These are fucking phenomenal tools. So I'm more than happy to support stuff like that, especially when I actually know the guys, and I've started to learn more about Pig. Really great guy, really great guy. So I hope that we can hear more from him soon enough, man, because that guy's got a story, and that guy needs to tell a story at some point. It's fucking great. Anyways, okay, so looking at this right here, it is suggesting that momentum will actually remain to the upside as long as we are closing 4-hour dildos above about 10,300-ish region. So that is essentially where we kind of are at on that last closing high. So to me, that does suggest that more sideways here is essentially just setting up for some more downside. But if we do start to close a 4-hour dildo above 10.3, could we see another try back up to like 10.450, 10.500? Yes, but the same ranges as yesterday still apply to what we're looking at right here. To the upside, I do not switch around my ideas for the medium term. That is, as long as we are below about 10,550, the same area from yesterday. Now, for the short term, we can use that same pivot that we had from yesterday to today, and that would be that 10,350-ish target. And now, 10,350-ish level, of which you can see right here. As this one did break yesterday, we did hit the next target to the downside right around 10,100. It looks like almost to the T, 10,135 actually on GDAX. So looking at that right there, I'd be looking at this only if I really wanted to be trading the short-term timeframes. I certainly do not. But yes, as long as we're below 10,350, I am short-term bearish, and as long as we're below 10,550, I am medium-term bearish. If we do start to take out 10,350 to the upside, I would look for a move back up somewhere around 10,450 to 10.5, and I'd expect another lower high to be put in there if the downside trend is to continue, which I do believe that it is. Anyways, looking at the 3-hour, what do we see right here? Popping back up, or at least trying to pop back up. This is coming along the side of 3-hour Stochs coming, still working their way to the downside. Obviously, you can consider this a hit of this trend line as well. Also rejecting getting outside of the neutral zone and just oscillating between the bearish control zone and the neutral zone. Do we see anything on Caretaker RSI? No, we do not. Although this has been confirmed as a local low. low. Is this oh, it is actually a slightly lower low right there. Yeah, so there is no bullish divergence there. Again, saving my eyes from the displeasure of trying to figure that one out. And what else do we have? Do we see anything here? It's actually 3 hours expanding on historical volatility percentile. This is rather weird. This is actually rather weird to see the 3 hour expanding while the 4 hour is contraction. So maybe we just haven't seen another, enough information on the 4 hour just yet. But I'll go for the rubber match and look for the 2 hour and 1 hour, because I actually do like the lower term time frames for something like this just in general. And looking at the buy hourly, what do we see? We do see it is expanding. Anytime that I see it above the moving average, I do consider that expanding. And in this case right here, it is maintaining a slew of closures above that region. So it is looking like, if we just kind of scoot around here and go to the hourly, yeah, the hourly is certainly expanding as well, that we are still seeing an expansion phase overall. So I do think that was actually very relevant, because the 1, 2, 3 hours agree with each other. The 4 hour is kind of a little bit in limbo here. So it would suggest that we probably are still in an expansion phase as those start to spill over to the higher term timeframes. And in this case right here, expansion with the trend would be, well, to the downside. But I got a little bit ahead of myself right there. Let's go on to the 2 hour. What do we see with momentum over here? Will momentum turn around soonish or not? Actually, yes, it will. As long as we close the next 2 hour dildo above 10,200-ish region, it will cross officially back onto the upside. But as you can see right there, this to me, again, is suggesting more or less that we might get a quick spike to the upside, maybe like 10.4, maybe even 10.5. But as long as we're kind of held below on a closing basis, 10,350, I would still be using that as a very short-term trigger. Now, again, when we're talking about that 10,350-ish region, it is extremely short-term time frame. I really do not like, making calls on these sorts of things. The calls that, that I'm comfortable with making are really the ones that I made over the weekend, and seeing them kind of play out now just over time. Now, with that said, we do have bullish divergence in play here. Yes, I would agree with that one. And usually I'm going to look for a move, up to about 10,350 for that. So do we test it again or not? Or actually, I guess we already did kind of test it. There might be another spike back up here, but as long as we're getting closed below that, again, I do say short-term bearish as well. And looking at the hourly, do we see anything of note here too? We do see that the hourly is basically getting, well, not really too much to make out of it. And remember yesterday that we also did say that the hourly was setting up for a move. This is exactly what I was speaking about as well. This trend line right here that we're drawing on this suggests that we're going to move about around traditional market open yesterday. And guess what? That's pretty much what we got as Bitcoin just starts to curl back down alongside Nasdaq and SPY and all the major bourses turning down with it. So to me, this is still more the same right here. And realistically, I want to be keeping a keen eye on what the Friday closure is going to be like, because we've gotten a lot of the easy moves for this week. I do think that there likely is another move to the downside, somewhere around 9,900 or 10,000 even, but I don't think that it's actually going to break right now. I think that all of this is a setup for next week if certain conditions are met. But we still got another week for at least still got another day at least for the weekly CME to close. God damn, those fucking keyboard is so fucking annoying. Jesus Christ. Okay, just break your keyboard. God damn it. I'm just going to smash that shit up after this. Anyways, it's pink. It needs to die. Anyways, looking at the daily right here, we do see daily momentum still at the downside. So I do look at the medium-term time frames as still angled to the downside. Daily RSI, do we see anything of note here? Not really. Kind of just neutral, if anything. Slight. Long-term, it actually is constructive. And I do need to reiterate, long-term macro, talking about the monthly, talking about the quarterly, of which they are closing in less than a week now. I actually am long-term bullish on that, but that means if we look at the macro, Bitcoin can come all the way down to like $7,000 and still be bullish. So take that with a grain of salt. It doesn't necessarily mean like fucking buy right here. It's kind of crazy. We're talking about humongous areas of price action. Anyways, do we see anything on the 2-day? Is there anything of note here? 2-day seems to be a little more under pressure. We are going to see 2-day momentum oscillators actually wow, this is actually perfect. Do we close this one tonight is a real question. We do. Oh, okay, this is really good. Okay, this is what I really be basing a lot of this analysis off of right here. 2-day Stokes are coming up to test around the edge of the bearish controls. And you can already see that they're a little bit under pressure. Let's see what price action would need to close below in order to keep those angled to the downside, and that would be 10,500-ish region. That's something that I'd feel a lot more comfortable with going off of. Yes, 10,350 is relevant to the very low term time frames. Yes, I think 10,550 closure above on like a 2-hour or 4-hour probably does start to flip this back up towards 11,000. But the 2-day is just a nice big old time frame, and the 2-day actually does seem to work a lot better with Bitcoin in general. And the 2-day jewel is lining up for continuation sell signal. Now, here's the problem: is that it never really gave you an official like sell signal over here, which you usually want to see. But this is pressured down right now in that current posturing. Let's look at the daily, see if that one fired off anything of note. Nope, not really. They're all kind of converging on each other. Back onto the 2-day, right on over here. Keep in mind though that the trend line that we spoke about going all the way back to December 2018, it's actually still it's still valid. So if we do come back down, I would be looking for the next potential major low to be put in around this region, and guess where it's coming in around right now? Right around the critical zone, a natural area for a little bit of counter trend pressure, regardless of that. So if we do start to come back down, obviously this would imply that it would take a very long time, by the way. But because each and every one of these ticks is 2 days of price action. But this would still be of interest. So for right now, pressure very likely down. Any sort of a 2-day total closure or daily closure below 10.5. And yes, I would be looking for the next swipe to the downside, probably somewhere around where we see all these slew of wicks from early September. If we go over here to the 3-day, do we see anything that suggests or not suggests that we have something interesting to go off of here? Actually, we do have something incredibly interesting to go off of right here. There is a big move very likely coming for Bitcoin. And the reason why I say that is because historical volatility percentile on the 3-day is expanding from an extremely low posturing. Anytime that we've seen Bitcoin get into this single-digit territory right here on 3-day historical volatility percentile, those have been your earth-shattering moves for the most part. So back on over here, we saw, well, actually, we're kind of in the midst of this one right here. From July, we got extremely low, and we're actually, kind of still working our way out of that. Obviously, this 3 days going to take fucking forever. But the last time we spoke that we saw something similar to that was back on over here. That was coming out of this major base from 7,000 all the way to 10,500, $3,500 move. Time before that we saw was oh my god, this was like bang on right here, single digit for just one dildo, and actually all the way down to a 6 read. Jesus, man. And that led us up for this whole splurt from 4,000 all the way to 14,000 over the next few months. Same thing in 2018, and right here getting down to single digits just for one tick, and then boom, massive explosion. That was definitely this major downside right here from about 6,000 to 3,000. So I do think that we're kind of in the process of setting one of those in, like something big is happening here. Now, like I said, I actually do think that 10,000 can still be a potential reversal zone. Until Bitcoin actually breaks it, I do think that it's very premature to be looking for moves down about 9,100-ish region. But that also does mean that if we do start to break that region, not only are we going to see, that turnaround, but with paired up with that historical volatility percentile read, well, things could get quite nasty. To put it bluntly. What do we see on 3-day Stokes? We see that they're trying to cross the upside right now. Do we see anything over here? What price action would need to close below in order to keep those angled to the downside? Well, first and foremost, this is not closing today, or it's not even closing tomorrow. It's closing on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's not really like that relevant right now. But yes, below about 10,250-ish region, and that would once again turn the momentum to the downside. So we'll just have to kind of wait for that one. And I think it would be a good time to go check on what CMEs are doing during this whole nonsense as well. And yeah, looking at the daily right here, again, it's just simply a downtrend. High, lower high, low, lower low, lower high. What comes next? What's going to happen next? I don't know. Looking at daily momentum right here, we're seeing it actually just start to twist. And guess what? The CM is just an easier chart to read overall. Look at this. It comes up, tests the edge of the bearish control zone, boom, down. What's needed to keep the price action down, or to keep the momentum down here? A closure below 10,480, which 10,480, very similar to that 10,500-ish region that we're looking at on the 2-day for spot markets today. And also on top of that, what do we see? We do see that the 21 and 55 draw closer and closer as Bitcoin is getting around, well, what would be a major support. So if that does start to cross, then we got problems. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about my gap fill. My gap just needs filling, bro. Hey, Krown, if we come down to 9,700, we fill my gap. Will we go up to the moon? No, actually, that gap's already been filled, and I would. It's very interesting to see like people's ideas about gaps, and maybe my past experience is not relevant to this, but I'd be very curious to see where people get these ideas, because gaps are very, very familiar for anyone who trades traditional markets, of which that's how I started my career. And looking at this right here, it doesn't need to be exact. I mean, wick to wick, it's already been met, and that was your. I mean, what is a $1,500 move not enough from 98 to 11.2, 11.3? You get my point. That ship has already passed, in my opinion. And looking at this right here, we just have all the same things kind of in motion, just a little bit lagging there. 4 hour, anything of note here? No, not really. Just a downtrend. That's all. 4 hour momentum oscillators looking like they want to snake around a bit. What's needed to keep them angled towards the downside? Again, wrong one. Come on, pig. There he is. All right, 10,350-ish region. Yeah, I do like that area as well. And before we move on, I also want to do something else. I want to show this other thing that pig's giving me access to, and that's a probability panel right here. I'm actually going to show it a lot earlier in this stream, because I do want to know just for my own behaviors, and we're actually going to represent it in a much more visually appealing way. I think that it's just easier to see. And let's go see what our areas are. I'm using 10,550 to the upside. Let's actually raise that down. Let's lower that to 10.5, and then to the downside, a daily closure below 10.1. Yeah, I'd want to be interested in that. Yeah, I mean that technically is my area. I'd like to see. Let's just use 10,000, because I think that would just be it's a nice round even number. It's easy to remember. Anyways, okay, looking at this, so between these two targets, between 10.5 and 10,000 even, we have a 43.5% probability to just remain there for another day. Remember yesterday when I said we're mostly going to range for the next day? Well, if you can, if you can look at it like this, I mean that's what you can see. If you're looking at $10,000 as the next pivot to the downside, we have a 29.5% chance to close below it today. By the same token, to get back above 10.5 and flip around all those things that we spoke about earlier, that would be a 27.05% probability. So both equally to the upside and the downside. There's actually a very similar probability here, slightly in favor of the downside, obviously. But here's the thing: the inside range target probability keeps everything bearish regardless of that. As long as Bitcoin's below 10.5, that is still medium term and long term actually bearish. Still favors the downside. Only for the very, very short term time frames, like an hourly or something, would I be looking for a little bit of uppy there. But for right now, that does really nail this one in as far as that goes, because realistically, the probability for maintaining downside posturing here, even within a sideways range between 10,000 and 10.5, is it's about 30 plus 43. So what? It's like 73.5%, 74%, which is rather high. It's pretty damn high. And then of course we do break below the downside area, then that's where things get interesting once again, because that's likely another breakout trade. So that has about 29.5% chance to work out. And by the way, I should probably let you know where you can actually get this. It's in the description below, from Pig himself. Anyways, checking it out, what else we got on this beautiful bitch over here. Let me just check out the timing. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go over and check out my secondary charts right now. Something very, 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 very important happened yesterday, and that was this. No, actually it happened 2 days ago, and now we're just seeing it play out. Remember yesterday when I said something very important happened today? That was yesterday. And that was opening and closing our first daily doodle below the 20-month moving average on the Bollinger Bands right here. Well, as we're also confirming a downtrend as well. And that was continuation implied down to the bottom side Bollinger Band once again. Guess where that's currently overlaid around? 9,900. Guess where the 200 exponential moving average is on the daily for spot price action? 9,900. Guess where all of the wicks are in from early September lows right here? God damn it, don't do that. No, stop. Stop it. 9,900. Ruined my flow, motherfucker. And this is also very important as well, because we're seeing the MACD histogram turn down too, alongside a bearish cross right there. And this is actually what you're looking for. We broke below the 20 simple, confirming the downtrend was kind of confirmed along the way, I guess, but following the downtrend. So same thing on the trend. We're also looking at our daily momentum oscillators as well on on my regular charts, and those are also angled to the downside. But most importantly, just seeing this area break alongside the MACD turning down, that actually is kind of a big deal right there, and would imply that we do at the very least test the bottom side Bollinger Band here. And if we are going to have a chance to break it, well, well, that remains to be seen, I guess. I don't think that there's any real need to get ahead of myself. Alerts, get the fuck out of my face. By the way, if you ever try to contact me on TradingView, just understand that that's like the worst way ever to contact anyone in the history of mankind. And like I just don't respond there because I can't keep track of it. And it's like I don't know what they were thinking when they put that together. I don't even know why they put that on there. It's kind of silly. It's like, hey bro, I don't know, like what do you is there like a chat room here or something? Oh Jesus, there's a chat room here. Oh, this is gonna be good. I wear a mask for this, like stealing. Woo, no mercy. What are you talking about, man? There's nothing happened in like the last 5 minutes. What are you talking about? Here she goes, young thoroughbred. I ride saddleless and I hodl her mane. All right, that's enough of that. Jesus Christ, man, I'm getting sucked into the vortex right there. Let's go and check. Speaking of though, let's actually go check out Dixie's. Thank you for that, good sir. Let's go over here to Dixie, $94.50. We spoke about this a couple days ago. As soon as we saw something like this, as soon as this this dildo on the 21st of September bullishly engulfed by getting back above $93 on the 21st, that was your signal that this is going to be a runaway low from here. And so far it's been a runaway low. You can see that this thing's just absolutely shattered everything on the way to the upside since then, and I'd be looking for it to work its way upwards and onwards, probably towards $95 over the next month or two, or maybe not month or two, probably the next month of October. Now again, remember this is coming off of a major reversal area from the monthly 200 exponential moving average, which, man, I at some point I won't say that. I will still maintain. I don't want to fucking be that person, but looking at this right here, yeah, $95 is about where I'd be looking for, and a little bit of a short-term pullback from that region. Long-term, I do believe that this is setting in a major macro low right here, and I do think that it very likely will see this expansion phase on the historical volatility percentile to the upside as it pops back up to the top side of the range, as this is going to have, whoa ho ho, caretaker, take care of me now, baby, because this one's going to get confirmed at the end of the month. We have actually hidden bullish divergence in progress, sir, and that will be available as long as we are closing above $93.50. So yeah, that would actually initiate a target a little bit higher than that, towards 96.5 and perhaps beyond. And let's see what momentum, what would be needed to turn around momentum. 97.5. Okay, that's pretty far away. All right, well, that's not happening right now, or maybe not right now. Anyways, yeah. So with Dixie going up, most things are going to go up with it, right? Right? Oh God! Oh God! That's exactly right, Lexington Steel. That is exactly right. We will be doing some oh God action, especially for holding dollars. No, just kidding. Dollars no longer cash is trash. So, who said that? Who the fuck said that? Someone said cash is trash. That's gonna go down as like a very that's gonna go down as like a very bad call. I've had my own bad calls, but man, that's well, fair enough. I suppose that this is also going to be reliant a lot on the geopolitical situation as well. Of course, that can get played around with, but this is something that we've been talking about for a while, and it's basically like an inverted chart of the euro dollar, right? We said that, you know, right around 119.5, very likely to put in a long-term major high, and what do you know? We do have that in progress right now. We are rejecting off that region. We do have what's not confirmed, but will be confirmed with any sort of a closure below 117 or 117.5, a bearish engulfing dildo. And do we have any sort of divergences to be spoken about here? Nope. Caretaker is not suggesting any divergences, and I would agree with that. And momentum oscillators are getting way up there, and what's going to be needed to reverse them to the downside? Oh shit, 110 actually. So that's neither here nor there. It's pretty damn far away. But I do believe over the next few months we will see this one come back down to 115, do some oh god action down to 113, and probably beyond. This is quite literally a 12-year long trend, and the trend can be your friend if you just let it be. Going all the way back to June 2008, down the stripper bowl ever since then. Anyways, let's go check out Nasdaq. Nasdaq, 10.850. We did say yesterday, probably a move back up towards 11.150, and then another lower high gets put in around the 21 exponential moving average. Crazy shit, right? This fucking technical analysis mumbo jumbo, hocus pocus bullshit sucks. Well, sometimes it actually does work, which is kind of crazy. What do we see on the daily right here? I don't really see anything of note. I mean, this is just continuation. Another, a lower high gets confirmed right here. Caretaker does denote it as a local high, so I will go with that. High, lower high, low, lower low. What could be happening over here? Maybe another lower low. Could it be that we're setting up for the test down to 10.5 as we spoke about over the last few weeks? I think so. Remember that we do have regular bearish divergence, 1, 2, 3 drives coming off the highs right here, 1, 2, and 3, and yeah, still look for 10.5 to get hit off that and probably bounce there. Could there be more downside after that? Yeah, absolutely, but I'd want to see a bounce first at 10.5. Monthly is setting up for a potential bearish engulfing as it is. Any sort of a closure below 10.9 will do that, and that would drive targets significantly lower, not just to 10.5, but to 9.8 over the month of October and November. What about E-mini futures for SPYs? What do we see here? Probably a very similar chart. I am bearish on this as long as it's below 3,300 now. We did hit our 3,200 target. It looks like nice one. Oh, that TA bullshit. It's not supposed to work. God damn it. This one does look like it has more downside overall. With that said, be very careful with my words here. Yes, I do think that we're going to bounce from the $3,200 area first. How do we bounce up? I don't know. Maybe back up towards like 3280, 3250, something like that. Actually, we're pretty close to that right now. But I am bearish on this thing as long as it's printing lower highs, man. There is no need to fade the trend here. The trend can be your friend, my friends. Look at this. It's a downtrend. Look at this. It's also a downtrend. And where would I have my next target down towards? Well, probably somewhere down around about 3130, 3140-ish region. But first and foremost, I'd be looking for a bounce off this region, probably back up to like 3260, we'll call it, and then we'll see if it wants to hold that or not. But I would suspect that we're probably gonna get more of the same here. Another drive down overall is rather likely. However, weekly bounce first, and then maybe sometime during October we'll see those next set of targets hit. Okay, so we spoke about all of that. What about, Tesla? Tesla's got to be doing right? It's got to be doing well. Tesla had battery day. Battery day means bullish because anything that Elon Musk says is bullish. I found it. Oh, what's this? What? A girthy red dildo? A girthy red dildo? A girthy red dildo? A girthy red dildo? How did that one get through? Okay, so we spoke about this coming into this week. What's likely to happen? Rally into the event. Okay, Lexington, are you fucking done yet or what? Okay. This is my life. Okay, so Tesla, what did we say about this one? Was going to very likely rally into this battery day bullshit event. And it's not bullshit. Like, the technology is amazing. It's phenomenal. And I have a lot of respect for Elon Musk. Like, a significant amount of respect for him. Not that he should give a fuck about my levels of respect for him, but he's a great person. He really is. As far as trading goes, so as far as charts goes like this, going to rally into an event. It doesn't really matter what the event is. As long as the expectations are just so fucking high that they're out of reach, it's usually going to be a sell. What do we say after the event? Probably coming back down to 350. Where are we right now? 380. We're not at 350, Krown. You're wrong. Well, until you look at this, until you just look at the fucking trend here, 350. I'm still sticking with that one. I think that overall, I'd actually extend that down to about $300 over the next couple weeks, and this thing probably, while it's very likely to bounce heavily at $300, I do think long term, $250 to $200 is where I'd be looking towards. This is very similar to what we saw in Apple. It had Apple had like a 4-to-1 stock split. Tesla had a 5-to-1 stock split. Gives away the whole thing. Has Tesla given away the whole thing? Yes, it's giving away the whole thing pretty much. Almost there. Pretty much though. 350 will do it. And then yes, I'd be looking for some more downside after that. Apple, I mean, this is a toppy formation here. Apple's very likely to come down over the next couple months down to like $90. I mean, that's not too crazy. It's at 107 right now, but that is about a 70% move to the downside. Microsoft, probably same thing. Yeah, down to about 186. I'd like to see corrections. Now, I'll refrain from making that stupid statement that I almost just made. Okay, cool. So yeah, as long as Dixie remains bullish, I don't really see any real reason to be looking for long-term reversals on most assets, just in general, as a general rule of thumb here. And I'd be using a nice pivot point of about $94 even for the downside. So as long as we're above $94 on Dixie daily closures, I am just generally bullish there, looking for the rest of the world to crumble down. Gold would surely not crumble. Mr. Peter Schiff, what happened here? 1850. I'm still looking for 1820 target to be hit though. The big break that we had was on this closure right here below 1920. Momentum oscillators seem to agree as well. Daily RSI getting into the bearish control zone for the first time in a long time. That TA bullshit. What is going on here? But we're also on the 21. So would I be looking for a short-term bounce of this region? Probably, yeah. Well, the short term really looks like it does want to try a little bit further downside. So maybe down to like 1820 or 1830 first and then a bounce. But this is an overall bouncy area. Go down your fucking overalls, farmers. But yeah, I would be looking for a bounce anywhere between here, 1850 and 1820 or 1830, whatever it is. I don't think that we're going to continue down like in a straight line just from this area. But the weekly is bearish overall. It very likely is going to come down further. So while I do think that it's going to get a bounce in this region, maybe even pops up all the way to like 1880 again. That's very likely just the next opportunity for some more displeasures for the Boolaws. What about Link? Link would surely not do what? Fuck! Oh, man! Shit! This thing was about to make me fucking rich. I've never bought a single one of it. God damn it, Reddit! That's the last $1,000 I ever put in this cryptocurrency bullshit. Again! And I'll make my announcement here on Reddit. Well, yeah. It probably does bounce back up towards 86,000 Satoshis and probably does play at a greater bounce back up to like 100,000 Satoshis, but this is party's over, man. Party's over. What's that from? Cardano was bullish. There we go. What about Mr. Buterol, you goddamn beautiful bitch you? I say that with love. And where is this lovely asset? All right, love. I'm trying to give you some love, Buterol. All right, let's look at the real chart. All right, so we did get a move down to about 300 even, 310 it looks like short term. Now here's the thing though, I do think that this one has more downside to go. It is very likely to bounce off this area. However, how high is the bounce going to go? Anywhere below 340 is just another failure as far as I'm concerned. Medium term and long term is bearish as long as below 340. Short term is bearish as long as you're below on like a 2-hour closing basis, 330. So it's not really like too helpful right there. Big ranges, so to speak. But looking at the daily, this one looks like it wants to come down to about 290. So I'd still stick with that target after a short-term bounce in our current area. Yeah, and that would also be the 200 moving average and also just our prior high right here. So anywhere around there, like 290-ish region, I'd be looking for the greater bounce. Very small bounce implied off the current area that we're at right now. But yeah, I do think that there's another leg lower most likely. Probably comes alongside whatever Bitcoin does as well. Let's look at Link versus dollars, just out of curiosity as well. Do we see anything of note here on good old Binance? No, it looks like the same chart. Looks like the same chart to me. So I don't really have anything to add there. Short-term bouncy, how does it close out the week is going to speak towards whether it has a greater bounce or not, and then we'll come back and denote if lower targets are relevant down to like $5.5 or not. But for right now, to kind of just hold tight on that one. Let's go back to Bitcoin. What do we have to say on here? I think we can start to wrap this bitch up. I guess this chart actually does work still too, but I've been keeping it clean with my GDAX chart. Let me just see how long this. Oh my god, this video's been too long. Yeah, 10,350. If I'm looking at extremely short-term time frames, not necessarily my thing, but if I did see move up there, it would only make me short-term looking for a move up for another $150 up to like 10.5 or so. Above 10.550, I do turn to medium-term Boolah-ish for a move back up to 11,000. But I am long-term bearish on Bitcoin, especially as long as below 10.5. on those closures. But even as long as we're below about 11,100 on a closing base, our last lower high, and until we set in another lower high, then I won't really switch that around. So for now, that's essentially what I'm looking for, and just general test down to about 98 or 9,900-ish region. I don't think that we have the momentum to break it today or tomorrow. Probably sets it up for sometime in October if it is going to happen. For right now, just things look like they want to trade a little bit lower and test in this region. Probably accumulate a few more wicks within this region and play out another short-term bounce, and then we'll come back tomorrow or the next day or whatever it ends up being, and reanalyze it. So with that said, I'd like to wish you the best and the happiest once again. Take care, and until next time.